he trade his guns for love, but he's caught in the crossfire. And he keeps waking up, but it's not to the sound of birds. The tyranny, the violent streets, deprived of all that we're blessed with, and we can't get enough, no. Heaven, if you sent us down, so we could build a playground for the sinners to play as saints. You'd be so proud of what we made. I hope you got some beds around, 'cause you're the only refuge now. For every mother, every child, every brother that's caught in the crossfire, that's caught in the crossfire.
I stumbled across a video from the Young Turks, and it instantly made me suspicious. They did a video covering the hurricane, not the one that hit Florida, the one that hit Haiti. Now, it's the same hurricane, but they specifically wanted to talk about how it ravaged Haiti, and I wonder why that is the case. Let's watch and find out, and let's see how many talking points they get to. Which talking points? I'll explain to you which. These. The regressive agenda. Now, I've added to this since this image. I've added fuck white people, and then white people are racists. That's the number one thing. Number two, fuck America. Blame America and its military for every problem on earth. Mention Iraq. Number three, defend the Muslims, create a false equivalence with Christianity, and muddy the waters. Number four, fuck the cops. And number five, fuck conservatives and Republicans. And I agree with that one. And then there's a sort of umbrella talking point, which is get money out of politics, which that's a broken record for them. So let's see if they try to shame people who are not caring enough about the hurricane and the dead bodies in Haiti. And let's see if they make sure to tell us that they are not those people. They are better than us. They are virtuous.
Well, America is busy watching to see what might happen to Florida or North or South Carolina. Up and down the East Coast, worries about Hurricane Matthew. Haiti has already been devastated. Just the latest in a number of natural disasters that have wreaked havoc throughout Haiti.
One quick fun fact about Haiti. Haiti was the first country in the Western Hemisphere to kick its colonial power out. They gained their independence a long time ago. And I'm sure a Google ninja out there would let me know the exact date on that. But the French used to run that shit, and then they kicked the frogs out. And Haiti has become an example of what happens when you kick a colonial power out of your nation. You take power, everything turns to shit, and your country descends into an ongoing disaster zone. Natural disasters are only part of the problem. It's the infrastructure that make those natural disasters have a lasting impact. They never recover from these things.
Reuters reported earlier today that more than 842 were dead, tens of thousands still homeless. I've read at least 60,000 are currently in temporary shelters. And those numbers, of course, considering the situation in terms of transportation and communication, are almost certainly low estimates at this point. Compounding the problem, only 9 of Haiti's 15 largest hospitals are currently operating. This is according to a mayor of a town that was particularly hard hit. 5 are unreachable by phone and radio. I've read about significant, extremely important bridges that are currently out. There are situations with food being unable to be transported.
Okay, so he rambles on and explains, okay, it's fucked up. Huge storm swept through. We get it. Let's see how they spin it, though. Let's see where they want to take the story.
And we know that there will be international help to some extent for Haiti right now. And in a week or in 2 weeks, will it still be there?
Hey, John, I have a question for you. We know that the Young Turks are going to make a video about Haiti right now. But in a week, in 2 weeks, will you still make videos about it? Are you making videos about the earthquake and the recovery from the earthquake that they had there in 2010? No, you're not. So you're trying to shame the mainstream media and trying to suggest that they just don't care. They don't care like we care. Oh, do you want to know how much I care? I'm talking about it right now. In 2 weeks' time, I won't be. But I just shamed people who do the exact same thing as me, and I'm not even aware of my hypocrisy.
We don't know. And they will be even less well prepared for the next earthquake or hurricane or whatever comes next.
I think it's unbelievable what you said, that trucking companies are going, but they're going to raise their rates
5 times.
I mean, normally when companies go in on something like this.
You know what I love is, okay, first of all, yes, they have a black token here, and they're super excited about that. He actually is a funny guy, so he's not a complete regressive. But I love the fact that Haiti never gets criticized for this event. So they're just talking about how unprepared they are and, oh my God, they're trying to recover from the last one, now they got the new one. At no point do they say, hey, the Haitian government should probably get their shit in order. Can we get the buildings up to code? Can we prepare? Can we make our economy thrive and be even somewhat competitive with other nations, first world nations? No. They don't expect the country to do well, and the rest of their criticism is going to be on other nations, nations like America, and how much money we have provided for them.
Like after Katrina, when the cruise lines, they were like, we'll send ships. Just don't worry about it. We're just going to send them. I mean, how do you go in and say, yeah, we know you're broke and you just got destroyed by a hurricane, so we're going to raise our trucking rates to, just unbelievable.
Capitalism at its finest.
Fuck capitalism. Cenk, how far left can you get, dude? I mean, it's unbelievable. So now it's just a sort of fuck the corporations sort of, I don't know, it's a very strange thing to talk about, but they wanted to make that point now.
Well, and I think the reason for that is the lack of attention versus tons of attention. So when it happens in the U.S., then you've got all the world spotlight on it, and certainly the U.S. spotlight. When it happens in Haiti, well, sometimes you get to charge 5 times as much and nobody pays attention. That's the time you cash in.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So when things happen in America, it gets more of a spotlight than if something happens in Haiti. Now, let's try to figure out why that might be, Cenk. Does Haiti have 350 million people? Are they a world superpower? Do they produce anything to contribute to the world? No. Are the media centers of the world located in Haiti? No. Do people care about it? Do people know it? Have people visited this nation? No. It is not as important as America. So when something major happens in America, it should get more news coverage. But that's really not what he's getting at. You see, now we're tiptoeing our way to their regressive agenda. We are getting to their number one point. And what is that? Fuck white people. White people are racists. Okay, that is what they are going to say. Now, let me just mention that America is currently 63% white. We have tons of yellow, brown, and blacks, and all sorts of mixed breeds. We are a melting pot of multiple races. Everybody knows this. And yet they are about to chastise America and label the entire nation a white nation and a racist nation because apparently we don't care about Haiti. That is the case they're about to make. And it's not just in a vacuum, by the way. They're making that case to illustrate the point that they are better than most Americans. They care. They are pathologically empathetic. They are regressives. And they want to virtue! What the fuck? Virtue, come here! That was angry. Okay. Oh, God. Have you guys seen Ken Bone? He is such a man. He's a man among bones. Yeah.
When you want the good PR, when everybody's paying attention, then you go, oh, you know what? Let me send it for free. And ironically, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. In Haiti, there's less attention because it's such a poor country, etc. And that's where they charge them even more.
Yeah.
It's poor and insignificant. And anybody who hears a report about how people are dead in Haiti feels bad for them. Nobody wants this. Everybody is sympathetic to that, but not as sympathetic as Genk. Here's an interesting side note. Guess how much money, take a wild guess at home, how much money has Genk sent to Haiti? 0. 0 was the answer. He doesn't care, but he wants to pretend like he does. His contribution to this movement is speaking out right now and making this video and announcing to you how much he cares. It's his virtue signal. That's all it is.
And then we have our knuckleheads here, we'll talk about more later, the right wing, who says, oh, well, I mean, look, it kind of missed Florida, so see, things are not so bad.
Now, back to the talking points. The right wing. So we're at number 5, okay? You see that? Now, the number 5 is kind of connected to number 1, and both of those are connected to number 2. The Muslims, he's avoiding that for this time, and the cops are off the hook right now. But 1, 2, and 5 are being discussed together right now.
Yeah, but Haiti also exists. Just because you don't live in Haiti doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And it got hit.
Fucking retarded, Cenk. You're a retard. If somebody's talking about how a hurricane missed Florida, they're happy that it missed the people in our nation. People that we might know or live next to. I mean, this makes perfect sense. They're not saying, hey, I don't give a shit that it hit Haiti. If they could have stopped it, they would have. But this is a natural disaster. Nobody can stop this thing. And yet he's trying to weasel a point out of this. He thinks that if you say something like, hey, I'm happy it didn't hit Florida so hard, that what you're actually saying is, I don't give a shit about Haiti. This is not the case at all.
And by the way, that also goes to a point about regulation. I know that they're not in great shape to begin with, but part of the reason they get more devastated is because if you don't have building codes, well, then all the rooftops fall off. Yeah. Well, that's what happens. And partly it's because of lack of resources, not just because they don't want to
build them to a higher standard. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And part of the reason why Dominican Republic sometimes can handle the storms better, and certainly the U.S., is because we built things up to code.
Yeah.
There is a reason for regulation.
Yeah, and we've seen that in the past. Countries that neighbor each other, a terrible earthquake strikes, and the one that has the housing regulations has very little damage, but billions of dollars of damage are done to the other country. And yeah, it's devastating. It's continuing. I mean, we've talked about the hypocrisy on how much empathy people show online or in terms of donations before as a result of terror attacks.
The hypocrisy that you're exhibiting right now, John? Or not that? You're online right now trying to exhibit empathy, but you don't actually provide anything.
If it's in Paris, a lot of people very empathic. If it's in Pakistan or Istanbul, not so much.
Okay, so I made a mistake. They actually did get to part 3, defend the Muslims. Okay, so if something happens in Paris, it is way more important to us, to people in the West, than if something happens in Pakistan or Afghanistan. Because for starters, we don't go there, we don't identify with them, we don't share the same culture or the same history, we are not allied to them. There's a million reasons why you should care about something in France happening more than other places. And this also works in reverse. People in Afghanistan and Pakistan don't give a shit about something that happens in America. In fact, they applaud when something happens. They were applauding in the streets at 9/11. And same thing with Haiti. Do you think Haiti cares if there's an earthquake in California? No. And not as much as if there's an earthquake in Haiti, guarantee you. But they're not going to look at things that way because all the people in Haiti are black. So you're never going to criticize a black person. What?
And usually you can sort of understand that because of the sheer distance. But if you're living in Florida, for instance, I mean, granted, you have things on your mind right now. Haiti is so much closer than Seattle.
Thanks, John. Does anybody think Seattle is not as close as Haiti? But it's a different nation. There's something called a nation state. There's something called the shared experience, the camaraderie, the extended family that a nation kind of tries to be. Now, look, our nation is so big, that's not exactly true. But if you break it down by region, by state, yeah. You have loyalty to these people. You speak the same language. Oftentimes you have the same religion. You know thousands of people. This is common sense. And yet he just loves everybody. John's got the whole world in his hand. I mean, what a caring, loving guy this guy is trying to announce that he is.
Or Sacramento. I mean, it's right there. It's within sight almost of America. This is not on the other side of the globe. These are people who share so much with us.
So by that logic, then we should not care about Pakistan and Afghanistan. You're talking about geography. You're like, oh, we should care about Cuba and Haiti. It's so close. They're human beings. Okay, well, Pakistan is super far away, so fuck them, right?
And to see them suffering, to some extent needlessly, they could have been repaired over the past 10 years. We could have given aid in a sustained way for the past decade to save some of these lives and to stop more billions of dollars of damage being done. But we have our priorities as a country. We're very clear about that, and Haiti is not high in that list.
Oh, and there it is. He's blaming America. It's not blame Canada, like in the South Park movie. No, it's blame America. Fuck America. Blame America. Do you see this? Now, in this case, it's not the military. He didn't mention Iraq. He did mention Afghanistan and Pakistan. No, it's we didn't give enough money. Because if we had given money over the past 10 years, we could have helped them build better buildings. Or erect better buildings, if you want to use that word. I do. But we didn't, because we don't care about them, because we're tribal and racist. That's why. Those aren't my words, that's what they're implying.
We could have given aid in a sustained way for the past decade to save some of these lives and to stop more billions of dollars of damage being done, but we have our priorities as a country. We're very clear about that, and Haiti is not high in that list.
Okay, John, well, that would be a very interesting talking point if it were remotely true. Let's go take a look at how much money we gave to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. Anybody want to take a guess? Just ballpark it in your brain. Here is the answer. UN aid to Haiti. The USA is the largest foreign source of relief aid to Haiti from the 2010 Haiti earthquake. The largest. We care about Haiti more than any other country on the planet. Although in December 2010, the Haitian president Michael Martelly said that the cooperation with Venezuela is the most important in Haiti right now in terms of impact, direct impact, USA, through US aid, is giving more than $712 million in aid. Now, just let that reverberate. $712 million is what we gave to this nation. We don't get any of that back. That is a gift. That is, here you go, people, we care. But not good enough. Not good enough to give more money. I mean, that is an insane amount of money to give to that nation. But John is going to undress us and call us out for being uncaring, unsympathetic pricks. John, you're the fucking prick. You prick?
It's amazing that how differently some of us think, because there's a tribalist mentality of, yeah, but Seattle's one of us and Haiti is not us.
Tribalist mentality, says a Turkish guy. Yeah, says a guy who has a channel called the Young Turks. Fucking hell, you named your channel after a tribalistic, genocidal group of Turkish people who went out and killed the Greeks and the Assyrians and the Slovenians and the Jews. I mean, unbelievable, Jenk. You're fucking tribal.
We're America and everybody else is everybody else. And so, and some people celebrate, I think a lot of people celebrate that. They feel like we're the weirdos.
Yes, Seattle's one of us, and Haiti's not one of us. Oh, it's the other. It's the us and the other. Why can't we just all be the same? Why don't you tell the Haitians to send us $700 million? Oh, well, they don't have it, Devin. Come on. They're the black country. We can't expect Haiti to do fuck all. And why? I'm sure he'll get back to, well, they were colonized by the... In fact, you know why there are black people in Haiti? They were brought there because of slavery. Is that the answer? We can expect nothing from them. Hey, Haitians, why don't you win a Nobel Prize once? Motherfuckers, win one. Do one goddamn thing on this planet. Start a startup company. Do anything. Give me access to free webcam girls from Haiti. Something.
Like, they call us things like secular humanists. That
secular humanist has nothing to do with this. We're the weirdos. So what he's saying is, right now he's being tribal, by the way. We the regressives, we the super caring individuals, we are the ones that have empathy and are trying to save the world. I super duper care about the Haitians. So what the fuck is America's all about? Seattle. I love Seattle. I'm not going to give fuck. I'm using fuck way too much here. Way too much. I care about Seattle. I don't want to give a red cent to Haiti. Well, let's send them $712 million. Here you go, guys. Don't spend it all in one place. But no, we can't care as much as this brown bitch.
Internationalist. Yeah, a human being in Haiti is the same as a human being in America.
No. No, they're not. Well, he's trying to make a case like humans are humans, man. So, Cenk, why don't you get into a debate with somebody who says that human life in Haiti is inferior to human life in America? Okay, so why would you erect that straw man? That's the second time I've said erect. What is going on? Oh, I understand, Genk. You've set it up. You've set it up on a tee for your bloated ass to now tell us what's right. And that human life is human life. A Haitian is super cool. Don't just be into Seattle people, be into Haitian people. But there is a difference, and it's called the nation. It's called citizenship. There is a social contract. My lord. This guy thinks he's living in Star Trek.
I don't think that's an outrageous thought.
It's not outrageous. It's pointless. You've made a thought that nobody contradicted. It led to nothing. It didn't better anybody. We're all just staring at you with this cold, dead eyes. Just going, Genk, why are you talking?
I think it's a perfectly normal thought.
Well, I mean, it's also strategic, right? There's no advantage to having Haiti on our side.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this could have been a decent point. And yes, there's a lot you could say about that. There is no advantage to being allied to Haiti. None. I mean, they're not going to provide you with any financial aid. I mean, what do you want to trade with them? What are they going to send us? What is their export? Tourism? Voodoo? Okay, yeah, voodoo dolls. If you want voodoo dolls, then yeah, trade with Haiti. Aside from that, militarily, no, nothing.
There are certain countries, like you look in the Middle East, where you have oil or something like that. Then it's strategic to be your friend.
Yeah, it is. And don't try to act like you shouldn't have strategic partnerships with countries who have oil. That makes a lot of sense. And by the way, we are energy independent now. We have been moving away from being dependent on Middle Eastern oil.
And the other thing, we're not saying it, but let's be honest, Haiti's a black country.
Yeah.
Booyah. We got to it. Hurricane rolls through Haiti. These guys spin this story to, we are racists. Why? Because Haiti's black. Haiti, well, we gave them $700 million. Shit. Not good enough. What's your point? What is the point of mentioning that they're black? Let's hear it. You tell me.
They're black people. And they're like, well, that's, a lot of people are like, we don't have to help them. They're just what you said, they're different.
Okay, so who are you talking about right now? American people. Which American people? The blacks in America? I don't see a big surge of charitable donations from the blacks in Chicago for Haitians. You're a black guy in America. You haven't given anything to Haiti. Oh no, he's talking about white people in America. Why, you ask? Oh, I think you know why. It's because fuck white people. White people are racists. Our number one talking point.
A lot of people are like, we don't have to help them. They're just what you said, they're different.
They're different. Yes, they're different. But They're human. Jesus, what is that argument? Let's go interview a white guy in America. So, sir, do you think that Haitians are just subhuman? No, that's a very odd... Do I know you? What's your name? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, and I think part of that, and the way they justify it to themselves is...
They. Who's they, Genk? You an American who has given nothing to Haiti? Or the white people in America who have given $712 million? If we're going to get ripped on for apparently not helping out Haiti this time, which I'm sure we are, then why don't you give us credit for donating a king's ransom, just untold treasure to that nation?
I don't know, those countries always have trouble, right? Oh, in Africa, they're always having trouble. In Haiti, they're always having...
He goes to Africa next. He goes to Africa. He could have gone anywhere in the world. You don't think there's dismay in white countries? Holy God. I mean, go through Eastern Europe. There are places out there that are not black, that are white people who are suffering, who suffer natural disasters, but he went to Africa. Why? To hang it over our head. A loose sort of, a kind of a little slavery reference there. Little bit. In Africa. There's also white people in Africa, Jenk. My father's one of them. My grandfather another. My cousins, yeah, we're all there.
Trouble. So what am I going to do? I'm going to throw my hands up. Oh, Paris. I go to Paris. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, Jesus Christ. $712 million. Actually, Paris does have trouble. And you know who causes trouble in Paris? Muslims do. Muslims. So wipe that little grin off your face, fat man. Muslims are fucking up Paris, a once beautiful city that used to thrive and prosper, is now saddled with a problem known as Muslims. Do you want to know the percentage of people in prisons in France who are Muslim? It is 70%. That is the answer. Sorry, Alex Trebek, let me rephrase. What is 70%?
And so Paris doesn't have trouble. Yeah, that's because you put a lot of money into Paris.
Yeah.
So that might have something to do with it.
$712 million. Right. So at the end of this clip, okay, it's over. What have we learned? They've missed every relevant point. They've distorted the role that America plays in aiding Haiti. It's as if they didn't research this for 2 seconds. They had their talking points. It's the same pre-existing talking points. I have spelled it out. I have dissected them. Once you know that that is what they want to talk about, it's just a matter of time before they get there. And at the end of that segment, they high-five each other, and they feel gratified. They feel proud of themselves. They've done their bit. Now, they didn't send any money to Haiti, but they chastise America and racist whites for not sending money when they did, and continue to do so. And what that is, what we call that, is racism against white people. That's what they're engaged in, and it's hideous, sniveling, virtue signaling in an attempt to uplift themselves, big up themselves, hype themselves up, and declare to the world how awesome they are. It sickens me. I see directly through it, like I'm goddamn Superman staring at chicks' tits. I will not stand for it, and I have one remaining piece of advice for you. If you want to send money to somebody to help people who are actually in need of help, send your money to my Patreon account, for God's sake. The people in Haiti are going to be fine. Okay, they have $712 million. I don't have that. I am shekelless. If you don't send money to my Patreon, I will haunt your dreams tonight. Tonight, Nightmareville, I'm coming in.
I trained my luck to know why he's caught in the crossfire. And now I'm here waking up to the sun and the sound of birds. Society's anxiety deprives of all that we're blessed with. We just can't get enough, no. Heaven, if you sent us down so we could build a playground for the sinners to play as saints. You'd be so proud of what we made. I hope you got some beds around, 'cause you're the only refuge now. For every mother, every child, every brother that's caught in the crossfire. That's caught in the crossfire.